Well, hello there. It's been a minute, hasn't it? In fact, it's been a big minute. Again, as I warned last time, don't expect a regular schedule for a little bit because just there's been an awful lot of life happening, which that's going to happen. Um, so, what the heck have I been doing since the last little update that I did? Well, I went hiking in Georgia. Sold my house. Yes, I'm still in the same place. It's because we just sold the house and we don't have to be out for like a month and a half yet. So it's going to be a little bit. But as you see, things are getting in a little bit of disarray back there. The next time I do one of these, those bookshelves may not even be there because I'll have to go like the sheet route or some such. I don't know. I'll have to play that one by ear. But yeah, we're packing up the books and all of that jazz and getting ready to go into rental before we get to our permanent relocation, which no, we're still not sure where that is. This is we kind of sold a little bit earlier than we really had to, but looking at just market signs, it seemed like a good idea to jump now and get as much money as we could for the house, and in anticipation of the market, taking a dip. Which then, once it does take a dip, that's going to work in our favor because we'll have we'll have more money to work with from the sale of our house, and other houses will go down in price. At least that's our theory. We'll see if it works out or not, or it'll just keep going up and we'll have shot ourselves in the foot. But based on what we were seeing with showings from our house, yeah, the market's definitely leveled off a bit. Might be a normal fall level off. I don't know. We'll see come the spring probably. Um, and of course, I went to BaseCon, which was it was a right of center, primarily sci-fi convention that was run very locally to me, which was just amazing. Rob Crozy, he's the one who set that up, and he did a fantastic job. Emily Red came and handled the food, and she was fantastic. Some of the best pancakes I've ever had, legitimately. And it was a really good time. Strongly recommend anybody who's interested go to basecon.com and at least sign up for the interest list for next year. I'm definitely going to try to make it if work allows for it. And that'll depend a lot on exactly where I wind up relocating to. If it's one place, I should be able to go. If it's another place, I probably won't be able to go. But them's the breaks. We'll just see how it goes. And hello, Joseph. I see you in the chat there. And there's one other person that is apparently watching. I have two theories: it's either Margot or Red. Probably Red, because normally Margot would say hello right away. Or it might be somebody else, in which case, hello, mystery person. Anyway, moving on from that. Oh gosh, what else has been going on? There's been some family drama. If you follow me on Twitter, then you've heard that my father-in-law has been in the hospital. Things have really turned the corner. He's doing much, much better. So thank you very much, everyone who prayed. Thank you so much. He's doing much, much better. It's still going to be a long road to recovery, and it's to be expected. He had some pretty heavy duty surgery, but praise God, he seems to have turned the corner and is. We don't expect any further significant setbacks. Thank goodness. It was rough there for a minute. Oh, Pastor G, awesome. So what else has been going on? Well, I've been writing reviews again since my freelance work has slowed up a little bit. I've been writing reviews for Upstream Reviews, which is run by Robert Crozy, the same guy who put BaseCon together. And it's a really great site. I've got a few reviews published on there. Most of them right now are Declan Finn. He's been definitely keeping the ship afloat while the rest of us have had lots of other things going on. So shout out to Declan for doing that. And but now I've got a little bit lighter load. Like I said, the work of selling the house and everything has been done, And that's a great thing. Excuse me, just a minute. For some reason, I come down here and my kids decide to come down and make a bunch of noise. Yes, it's annoying. I'll be right back. Sorry about that. To be fair, it's been a while since I've done one, so you know, the, all the training went away. uh, let's see here. I was on reviews. Um, let's see. Yeah, okay. I've been writing a lot of reviews, and so some more of those will get published here in the near future. And again, Robert Croze is doing a fantastic job running that site. He's actually starting to offer something for the reviews, which is like the first time it's happened to me with something like that. So this is fantastic. This is great. Not that I'm going to be quitting my day job, but it's just it's just good that knowing that it's getting run by somebody who knows how to run things. It's fantastic. Which I could probably learn a few things from him, to be honest. So what else has been going on with life in particular? Yeah, that's kind of those kind of the main highlights. Work continues more or less as normal so far. I'll be circling back to that here in just a minute. And yeah, well, reviews, hiking, selling the house, and father-in-law medical issues. So, and now that I've got a few more reviews in the hopper, I'm going to be getting back to the Fighting the Void website, catching up with some stuff on that. And once that's done, which I expect to take a week, maybe two, I'm going to be start putting out episodes of a whole nother series that I've been working on. It's a book discussion group called The Right Words. I'm going to start putting out those episodes, hopefully to the tune of 2 to 3 a week until I catch up. And I kid you not, there's a years of content for me to post. So it's going to take a little while to catch up, which is good because it means it's going to take a while. Basically, I'm going to be posting something regularly, whether it's on this channel or not is another matter, which ties in directly to what I was going to circle back with concerning work. Now, work is not doing a vaccine mandate just yet, fortunately. However, they are requiring us to report our status. Now, I know some people are like, don't do that. Well, we don't have a united front at work. We just don't. Part of it's a union issue. The union is not the union, unfortunately, other than a few particular instances, doesn't really have any major teeth. It's pretty good at helping people individually, but and myself included, I've got stories, and I have benefited. I would be lying if I said I didn't. However, when it comes to bargaining for the union as a whole, yeah, we're kind of an afterthought, to be perfectly honest. And that's unfortunate. And like I said, the union hasn't been super keen on pushing back on a lot of this stuff. So yeah, there's no united front. Like we're just not gonna answer that question, much to my dismay. I know someone else whose union is taking the stance of we're not telling you, and you can present a united front like that, you can be very effective. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't have a united front, and reporting my status is not my line in the sand. It's just I'm not getting fired over that. However, if they do mandate, which it would seem that reporting the status is probably the first significant step in that direction, well, then, yeah, line in the sand time, because there's got to be one. There's got to be a line in the sand somewhere. Now, that said, what do I think they're going to do? For those who are aware, who've heard me say it before, most of my company's business is located in the South. I believe there's generally a lot more, shall we say, hesitancy down there. And there's certainly a lot more of the legislature down there that is willing to push back uh, against the Fed's rules or perceived rules, which is what we're in right now. We're not in actual rule space right now. We're in actually perceived rules or fear of rules that are forthcoming is where we're at. And anyway, because of that, the company is likely to at least drag its feet on doing a mandate for as long as possible. What I expect is that they will wind up going with the once a week testing option, or allowing for that, I should say, for as long as possible, which I will do for as long as possible, unless it winds up being the you know swab up the nose thing. I imagine that's going to wind up causing some negative effects down the road. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And of course, regardless, I'm still relocating down south because, again, for all those reasons that I said, there's more resistance down there. To be frank, I'm more likely to be able to find another job that I'll be able to use to support the family down there, and at least be waiting for a while before the feds get around to come in our direction. As far as whether or not it'll go that far, that's a good question. I don't know. There's a lot of logical reasons to say that it won't, because one, roughly half the states have said, no, we're not going to do that. But a lot of them, if you pay attention, and this is true of the Daily Wire stance as well, if you pay attention to the statements very, very closely, they're willing to challenge these things in court. They're willing to fight the standard legal channels, legal battle, and all of that. But if they lose, they're going to go along with it. If you pay close attention to what's being said, and like I've referenced the Daily Wire, even if you pay close attention to what Knowles has said on his show, yeah, that's the case. They're gonna fight it legally, but if they lose in court, they're basically gonna take it. Now, of course, you have to fight the legal battle. Obviously, I agree with that. But we're dealing with major issues here, major constitutional issues, major infringements of civil liberties. We're dealing with the creation of a two-tier society that has to be resisted beyond just a court case. You can't just rely on the courts to give you what you want. And now I'm not calling for anything crazy, but I am saying you have to just say no. They come saying we're going to fine you. No. We'll shut you down. No, you won't. Come, make me shut down. Do it. Fine. Try. And if enough people do that, they'll realize it's unenforceable. And one of the key elements of a just law, at least as dictated by Aristotle, is that it has to be enforceable. If it's not enforceable, it's not a just law. Plain and simple. And we have to make sure this one in particular is not enforceable. And you do that just by saying no. I'm not paying your fine. I'm not requiring this of my employees or my customers. I'm just not doing it. And like I said, you'll find more of that down in the South, I believe, than you will in most places in the North, with a few exceptions. Like New Hampshire, you'll find a lot of resistance to this crap up there because of the Free State Project and the libertarians that are concentrating there. And say what you will about libertarians, when it comes to this, they're on our side, y'all. They're very much on our side when it comes to this, unless of course you're one of those people who wants to extend, who likes to stretch common good clauses as far as beyond any reasonable thing. Stretch it so far that it literally lets the government do anything, so long as they throw in the phrase "common good." Yes, I have issues with that sort of thing, if you haven't noticed. So, by all means, in any case, so that's where things are there. I think work will be fine for a while. I suspect if we make it past, if we make it into January and there's no mandate yet, we're probably going to be okay. Because for one, it just doesn't seem like other than the news, other than the feds, mandates don't have a lot of actual momentum. Like down here on the ground, I don't know how many people are actually all for them. Yes, I know there's a lot of people on Twitter that are. And there's a lot of people, way too many, that just like with the masks, are go along to get along. They don't want it, but they'll go and get it. They may be against the mandate, but they'll go along with the mandate. You know what I mean? That like they don't actually want the shot, but they're going to go get it anyway. I recommend I recommend if you are against it, be against it. If you actually think it's a good thing and everything, well, honestly, my question would be, why don't you have it already? If you actually think it's a good thing and it's effective and safe and yada, 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 and actually put out there with the best intentions in mind, my question honestly would be, why don't you have it already? It's been available long enough. If you don't have it, you're really going to let them make you? Because I got to think, if you don't have it by now, you're probably like me and you at least have a question or two. And the fact that they're trying to bully us into not having questions kind of makes me not want to get it. You know, yes, I'm throwing a tantrum. Deal with it. Just you ain't gonna make me. Like honestly, I'm at a point now where you would literally have to strap me to a table and and inject me that way. Not hold a gun to my head because no, that's I'm still gonna say no. You're literally gonna have to forcibly inject it. Put it that way. That's kind of where I'm at. If you're not there, and if you like finally decided to look into that, and you come to the conclusion that you want to get it, then knock yourself out, pal. Go for it. Although, please look at the possibility that this is. Please look at the possibility that the vaccine is actually making things worse. Why do I say that? For those who haven't been following, if you look, a lot of the places that are most heavily vaccinated, they've got the biggest rise in cases and the biggest rise in deaths. Now, the deaths are actually still a smaller percentage than they were before. So that's true. The case fatality rate, the infection fatality rate, they're still way down. However, there are still more cases and more deaths reported this time now versus the same period of time last year. And there was no vaccine last year. So just think about that one for a minute. And not to mention, there is the possibility that it is hitting more younger people now, which is interesting. Why? Why is that? Why indeed? Also, in a lot of places, I forget where it was. I don't know if I think it was England, specifically Wales, I believe, that they had a headline that's like 37% of the people in the hospital are unvaccinated. Oh, pray tell. What are the other 63% then? As it turns out, most of them have at least one shot. There is some percentage where the study actually says we don't know, but most of them have at least one shot. A large majority, I think it was 40 something, a plurality, I should say, 40 something, I think had 2 shots. Not that that matters anymore because Lord Fauci has declared that, hey, you stupid sheep, if you don't have 3 shots, you're not fully vaccinated anymore. All right. So declareth Lord Fauci. Screw that guy. Seriously. Yeah, Madness. Hey, how you been, man? It's been a while. It's been a while since that, like I haven't seen you in the chat in ages, man. Not just because I haven't been doing a show, but like I haven't seen you in the chat in forever, yo. So Welcome to the madness. And it definitely is madness these days. Holy crap, but I'm sure you've been paying attention. Um, anyway, and yes, it's about the V. Uh, so yeah, if you're still looking into it, at least consider that possibility that this thing is not actually helping, that it might be making worse. Now, I don't know if that's, I'm not going to state that definitively yet, but there's reasons to suspect that may be the case. Um, and and yes, I mean that's one theory, madness, that um, the COVID, or maybe even the other thing, might be making it so that people are getting hit by things that would normally be less dangerous. That's a possibility. I don't, I haven't seen anything to sway me on that one way or the other, but it's not a bad idea. Um, your boy Pat's live streams, huh? I'm gonna have to check that out. I rate prostate. That just sounds disturbing. But anyway, so where, gosh, I mean, where are we at with this stuff? We're still in crazy town, obviously. Um, the V definitely is not. It's not helping matters. I don't see how anyone could actually look at things now and think that's the case. Yes, it might actually be reducing people's symptoms to some degree. That's possible. However, the need for the boosters tells me that if you're not getting constantly boosted with, or frequently, I should say, boosted with this thing, it's not going to even do that after a while. I think that's why in Israel they're already talking about a fourth one. Yeah, no kidding, a fourth one already. So yeah, not a fan of the boosters either. Kind of more BS if you ask me. Um, I had a couple other little factoids I was going to bring out, but one interesting factoid is I know some people who live near one of Pfizer's major production facilities. They are building a they're building a huge expansion. They plan on doing this for a very, very long time. Yes, Joseph, the boosters are never going to, it is never, they're never going to end. That's why when they initially issued the V cards, they had 4 boxes to check, not 2. Yeah. And in fact, think about that one for a second. 4. You do remember that at least the J&J only required 1 shot, right? Of course, that was also the one that they paused because of the blood clots. Yeah. So that's fun. Oh, also, they keep talking about hospitals being overrun. One, is that true? 2, what are they being overrun with? Now, I've heard anecdotally from multiple people in my area that they're not seeing these massive numbers that they keep talking about on the news. They're just not seeing the people show up. My local hospital, I happen to know one of the nurses that works there, and they were all, yeah, we've got like 9 people in the hospital with COVID right now. Now back in the spring, there were more. They're back in the spring. I guess there were like 30 or something like that, which, okay, for my area, that's a fairly large number ish, but still, I mean, 30 people out of tens of thousands that are serviced by this particular hospital. Not exactly the plague, okay? Also, another bigger hospital system nearby, it's not that they're getting overrun with COVID. They're seeing huge spikes in other things, though, like strokes, blood clots. Wonder what that's getting caused by. Please post your theories in the chat. Let's see here. Speaking of the chat, oh yeah, um, when it comes to Manus, when it comes to lockdowns, there doesn't seem to be a lot of appetite for that here, at least not right now. Other than the real crazy places like California and New York, to some degree. We'll see. We'll see if that comes back nationally at all. I'm thinking probably not. But you never know. Every time I think logic is going to win this particular battle, I am sorely disappointed. Usually the crazies come back and double down with more crazy than ever before. Uh, see, well, yeah, of course, of course, Manus, you're just right. Um, that if Trump was president, obviously the media would not be pushing the vaccine at all. Problem is, Trump would. He still kind of is, actually, which is just one of the funny things. They keep saying, "Oh, all you stupid Trump supporters, uh, if if he would come out in support of the vaccine, you guys would all be lining up to get it." He won't shut up about the vaccine. Actually, he was just in a documentary what really happened in Wuhan, and the reporter whose name I forget, I'm sorry, uh, specifically asked him some questions about kind of what would you do differently and all of that, or what do you think about this? That was like, well, he launches into his thing about how great the vaccines are. It's like, dude, your your supporters kind of hate this vaccine crap. Now, would he be pushing a mandate? Probably not. However, he's still pushing the actual vaccines themselves, and it's like, dude, if you actually want to have a chance at getting your base behind you in 2024, kindly shut the hell up and admit that you done screwed up not firing Fauci when you should have, which was about 15 minutes after you hired him. But that's neither here nor there. Ugh, for the love of goodness. This is interesting. More from Madness here. His government, which I remember it somewhere in Europe, dude. Forgive me, I don't remember exactly where. Um, Talking about doing the whole vaccine card and everything there. Antifa arrived. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? The anti-fascists arrive to support the actual fascism. Shocking, right? Not that anybody who watches this channel or other channels that I watch are going to be terribly surprised by that. Not surprised, but still, I didn't know, and it's good to know that. It's good. It's good to know that the media remains in cahoots with Antifa, and Antifa is still the shock troops of the establishment. Not that they're terribly good shock troops. Usually, with a little bit of resistance, they scatter. But then again, we'll see how that goes as things progress here. And let's see. What are some reasons to think that the mandate thing is going to lose out? One, there are a lot of people who are willing to go to the mats on this, who are willing to kind of put it all on the line, put their money where their mouth is, and say no. Now, as we just saw in New York, there are a lot of people that are willing to call the bluff, that are willing to go, okay, fine, you're fired. And then their governor's case, calling the National Guard to fill the gap. Well, first of all, they're not most of them probably aren't going to do a great job of filling that gap. Are there literally tens of thousands? I think it was was it 30,000, 70,000, 80 something thousand, 83,000, I think, healthcare workers in New York who are basically either have gotten or about to get fired for not getting that thing. So what's going to happen? What's going to happen with that? Like I said, those National Guard workers probably are not going to be able to fill the gap all by themselves. I seriously doubt it, as a matter of fact. Which means that the people that are still there that do have the jab, and they're still they're still getting locally considered to be fully vaccinated, even though they may not have the boosters just yet. But we'll see how many of them call BS on the boosters. I'll be curious. I'll be really curious. People who's just like, are you kidding me? The FDA actually voted to say no, like by an overwhelming number. It was like 16-2, 16-3. You guys know that, right? No, so no, I'm not doing the booster. I didn't sign up for a medical subscription service here. We'll see. We'll see if they call that out. Now, but anyway, the people that are still working, they're going to have more work. They're going to have overwork. And I saw a tweet from Shannon Joy the other day that indicates that in New York, it's already becoming an issue with the vaccinated people who are still at their jobs. They're quitting because of the overwork. Now, I don't know if that. Now, I suspect greatly that a lot of the people quitting, the unvaccinated quitting and everything, I think that's a feature to the people in charge. Now, are the vaccinated people quitting? Is that a feature? I mean, by which I mean, are they actually totally fine with pushing the system to maximum stress levels as quickly as possible? Did they anticipate that? Do they accept it as just a small possibility, that just a hurdle that they have to clear, or is it part of the, or was it factored in as part of some master scheme to burn the whole thing down? I don't know. Rationally speaking, I would say they weren't expecting it. But anyway, other reasons. Like I said, half the states have at least expressed willingness to challenge this crap in court. Well, there's no actual rule in progress with OSHA yet. I saw a story on that the other day that OSHA is not taking any steps right now to help to work with companies to formulate a rule. It hasn't happened. So that's cool. Then again, massive fines for having unvaccinated employees is buried in the Democrats' massive spending bill, their big infrastructure bill. So that's cool. So that's effectively a mandate. And that may be what everybody's waiting on to see if this gets through or not. I pray it doesn't, obviously. But regardless, I'm going to a place that's more willing to say, piss off. So let's see here. Joe has a question. Joseph. Based on that picture, I'm going to say you prefer Joseph. Okay, so do you think they will use the virus to cheat in the midterms, or will they fear that regulations will cost them the election? Yes. The answer to that is yes. Do I think they will cheat? Yes, absolutely. They will absolutely cheat. Now, they still may fear that regulations will cost them the election. Maybe. Like, I think there's some that are like that, especially ones that aren't in, shall we say, the protected districts, the ones that they will pull every dirty trick in the book on to preserve. Like they're gonna preserve AOC regardless. It doesn't matter. The squad is safe. Certain establishment members are absolutely safe. Like it doesn't matter how many people turn out to vote against these people. I promise you, they're gonna stay right where they are. That said, there's got to be a few people in Democrat progressive land who are like, okay, guys, we can't keep cheating quite so obviously. Eventually, they're not just going to catch on; they're going to get pissed, like really pissed. Now, are there going to be enough of them? I don't know. I can't say. My suspicion is no. I think they're going to cheat again. I think it's going to be wide. I think it's going to be utterly transparent again. And what do I mean by transparent? I mean transparent, like we're going to board up the windows now so you can't see what we're doing. Like getting caught on video, pulling extra boxes and running through the machine a couple of times, and then having the media say, oh, that didn't really happen. I literally saw it on video. Continuing to count ballots for like over a week after the election. Yeah, it's going to keep happening. Setting up your mail-in ballots so they can see who you voted for, as we saw in the California recall. Are we going to see people getting told that they already voted when they didn't? Yeah, we're going to see that. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a couple more places, just a couple, polling places just go dark, like we did in the last presidential, and those special elections in Georgia too. Yeah, you might have forgot about that, but there was at least one. I think it might have even been Fulton County again. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check that one, but they they went dark again. Even CNN was kind of like, really? We're doing this again? Really? That kind of looks bad, don't you think? Now, here's a good question. And I think I have a little bit of an answer to this. Why be so transparent? Why be so clear with things like that? Having the same place, or at least a place in the same state, go dark, followed by a sudden boost in the numbers for a candidate? Why would, like in the California recall, why would they be literally on TV watching the vote count for people in favor of the recall drop by like 400,000 votes? Like this literally was caught on TV. Why? Why be so transparent? Why would John McAfee, who literally had it tattooed on his forearm, "I didn't kill myself"? Excuse me a minute. You think I would have learned after the last one? Have a drink. Why be so transparent? Sorry, my voice. Goodness. Why be so utterly transparent? The reason is simple. They know we know. They want us to know that they know we know. Point is, they don't care. They don't care if we know. They want us to know that. They're not being hypocrites. They're not being sneaky. They're rubbing our faces in it. They are saying, yes, we're doing all of this, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can see us coming a mile away, and you can't stop us. That's what they're doing. It's a wonderful principle that was explained to me in an old comic book, actually, by Mark Waid. It's called Empire. And it was written with the main character is actually the evil dictator, who's literally, as the series begins, in the final processes of taking over the world. And it might even have been Jerusalem, actually, was the kind of the last holdout. I don't know. But there's this kind of the last significant holdout where the various resistance forces are concentrated. And the Empire's forces, they're taking their sweet time. They're building this massive bridge over to the fortress. And one of the bad guys in the bad guy's armor asks, why? I mean, we could call in airstrikes and flatten this place in a minute. Why spend all this time and money and effort? Why? Why are we doing this? Well, the answer was because we want them to see us coming. We want them to know that they can't stop us. It's that simple. That's what's going on here. Why would they suicide John McAfee, the guy who literally says, if I die, I didn't kill myself, and literally had it tattooed on his forearm? Why didn't they just, because I can't remember where he was, but he was in some crap hole of country prison. Anything could happen. They could have easily just paid a guy to shank him and not do this whole suicide crap. They did it to rub your face in it. That's why. Yeah. Oh, quick aside. Yeah, Madness. Just to answer your question there about the books. Yes, I have fewer books here before. I actually addressed this at the beginning. I'm moving, so I am packing my stuff up. Most of my books actually are already packed up. Next time I do this, those won't be there, most likely. So I'll probably have to do like the sheet thing or something or another. I don't know. I'll come up with something. So yeah. Which is another thing that might keep me from a regular schedule for a while. We'll see how it plays out. I don't know. It's an open question as to whether or not I'll be able to get a regular schedule going with this until I am, in fact, permanently relocated, which won't be for a while yet. But anyway, incidentally, based on the content of this video and based on YouTube's new stated rules, there's a good chance this is the last YouTube video I'll be doing. Not necessarily the last, but good chance. We'll see how it goes. But I will keep going. I will be Rumble is the obvious go-to, which is probably what I will do. Pastor G, of course, is already on Rumble. You can definitely check him out there. And in any case, yeah, Madness, you're not. He's not the first one to compare that and the passport with the Mark of the Beast. That idea has been floating around in Christian circles for a while, like kind of since it started, actually. Whether it is or not, I honestly, I don't know. It certainly has a lot of the hallmarks of it. It certainly has a lot of marks of the mark. The whole not being able to buy or sell without it, that sort of thing. It might be, and I'm not. I'm not one to go there, actually, because people have been predicting the end of the world since there's been a world to predict the end of. But also, eventually, someone's going to be right. So it might be that. Just another reason to not get it. If you have got it already, there's such a thing as invincible ignorance. Take a chance you're in the clear. Spiritually. But in any case, that's about where things are at right now. I have my line in the sand. Not getting the thing. Can't make me. And I will figure it out. I have other avenues. I have other skill sets that I can deploy. Won't provide me with as nice of a living, but provide me with a living. Especially if I'm going to a place with a lower cost of living in general, where I can set up my own little farm and grow a lot of my own stuff. It means if my computer goes down, that'll be a problem. But yeah, it's about where we're at now, guys. So anyway, I am going to try to be back on a regular schedule again, but it is going to be very much played by ear. It is going to be, week to week. Do I have the time to do it? So I wouldn't expect a lot of guests in the near future, unless I'm pre-recording, which is very possible. Excuse me again. Why am I moving? Work, basically. That's a short version. And but I would be moving anyway. Put it that way. For political reasons. And anyway, that's all we're going to have for now. So thanks a lot, guys, for tuning in. Thanks for everybody who watches afterwards. And hopefully I will see you again next week. And until then, as always,